One of the things I appreciate about science of learning is that it's not um, the terminology is intentional, right? You could assume this is the same as learning sciences or cognitive sciences, but I think one of the reasons we call it science of learning is to break with kind of traditional academic disciplinary boundaries. And if you think about something like science of learning, this doesn't belong to any one discipline, right? So psychology is certainly relevant here, but so is anthropology, so is linguistics, so is technology, so is computer science and computational modeling. So it's a transdisciplinary effort to understand the way in which the human mind facilitates learning in rich and diverse sociocultural contexts. So that's how I think about the science of learning. And it is more than just kind of traditional concepts of cognition. That learning is much more than higher order thinking, although of course it is that too. There's sensory learning, there's perceptual learning, there's all sorts of ways that olfactory learning that the human mind and the kind of neural system learns new concepts. So it's interdisciplinary, it's multifaceted, and it's I think about it as complex systems. And in order to understand something as complex as learning, you need the tools of many disciplines and both the theoretical tools and the methodological tools.
That for a lot of edtech entrepreneurs would already be quite scary because it is so wide. And how do you focus on that in terms of your proposition or the solution you want to bring to education? What would be your top recommendation for them then?
Well, I think to appreciate the ways in which data are generated, right? So, for example, in the field of psychology, the discourse, the science, the scientific agenda has been dominated by, in fact, a tiny minority of the human population, which many of us represent, in fact,
Yes.
in this room. And I think there are heroic efforts to diversify the science and not just diversify the populations that we're studying, that's important, but also to include scientists who represent these regions and can actually set the scientific agendas in these regions as well. That social science, again, psychology, social science more generally, has made progress there. But there's a lot that we don't know about the diverse ways that people learn in context. There's also not nearly enough known about individual differences because we tend to focus so much on what is generally true of particular populations. There's a reason that we do that. That actually I think comes from the biomedical model, where we recommend therapies that in fact work for only a portion of people and may not work at all for others. So a lot of social science is not very different from that. And so I guess my recommendation would be recognizing the limitations of what are the current state of the art in our data. And we are making progress, but there are big gaps in our understanding of science of learning.